it's sad to say that maybe pedals are dead because they are super cool. And I think when you just get a new one, you're like, man, what can I do with this? But just the plugins are just infinitely, there's so much more you can do.
About these reviews?
Yeah, because I think that's like a big thing with people who like go into social settings that don't want to drink.
Yeah.
They think just having some in their hand works, but someone's always like, oh, what's in that? Is there alcohol in it? Where this kind of like just at least it looks like it.
At least it looks like alcohol. It says liquid death.
Yeah.
And it's got a skull on it that's deteriorating. So that's like definitely on brand.
Yeah.
So, but we are rolling. So I got all that.
Perfect. Maybe they'll appreciate that.
So, guys, welcome to the Phase Splitter podcast. This is our inaugural episode, right, Maddie?
This is number 1.
Yes, sir. And what are we doing here?
Well, we're going to talk about some indie artists, some Instagram artists, anybody in between, cool things we found on YouTube in the music industry, and specifically shredders out there that maybe we can give some exposure to.
I dig it. And you know what? I actually like reached out to a few of them, and I was like, "Hey, before I just throw you up on there, do you mind if I actually kind of like throw you up on there?" And then they're like, "Oh no, absolutely, dude."
Pretty receptive of it.
And they're like, "Do you need anything from me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you could maybe find more for me."
Yeah,
because I've curated my Instagram feed to just be like guitar and bodybuilding.
Yeah. Same here. That's all that comes up on mine.
So I'm like sifting through like dudes that are clearly on trend.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, dude, I just really need to find some like shredders and riffers. But yeah. So a little bit of background is what we're gonna do is we start this podcast, right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna feature some, like Matt said, some guitarists, some shredders, some riffmeisters, and give them some exposure. But we're also gonna take questions and stuff like that. But then we're also gonna bullshit and like, be funny about it, right?
It's not too serious. This is kind of like our break from our professional lives,
from our real jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of which, I gotta crack this daddy open.
Absolutely.
You gave me the severed lime.
I did. Yeah, I gave you the one that had flavor. I got the aluminum tasting.
Dang, dude.
Big fan, huh?
Okay. So what's been new with you? Anything?
Not really.
There's something new. This guy's a master's graduate. What's the degree? I know it says something to satellites and like Richard Nixon conspiracy.
It's actually just an IT degree, but yeah.
Okay, he's always like an IT degree.
No, it was 2 years of just homework every week and always having that lingering in the background. So I'm glad that's over with.
Never being able to be like on top of it.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I'll do that on Sunday, and then Sunday rolls around, and you're like, I really, really wish I had not had that thought process all week. So, yeah, procrastinated pretty much every week. But, I mean, some weeks, no. I had group projects that I had to be a little more forward-thinking about. But, yeah, I'm really happy it's over with. And
well, I'm proud of you. We celebrated with a surprise party the other week, right?
Absolutely, yeah. My wonderful friends and my girlfriend kind of set that up. And, yeah, it was great. And I'm really glad you showed up. And, Amanda,
yeah, man, I showed up. Of course I showed up.
Yeah.
That's like the most exciting thing I get to do nowadays.
Yeah, and you're
except
back.
play guitar.
You're back here, so this is great that we can do this now.
So that's like the new thing with me. Moved back to Colorado from Maryland. And that's where I was like making all my content and stuff. So I'm really excited to be back home with like a network of friends and like people to do this with. So, you take for granted you take for granted when you're with great people.
Yeah.
And then, the nature of my job is I move a lot. And so then when you leave like a really solid group of people that you'll be friends with for life, like that's something that you miss. And, some people say, oh, you make friends wherever you go. It's like you don't make the same quality friends. Like you make a good friend here and there, and
hugely.
I have best friends back in Maryland, but like this area was where I had like the biggest group of lifelong friends. So
me as well, yeah. And it makes you apprehensive, I'm sure, to like make new connections when you go to those places, knowing that there is kind of like a time crunch of I'm going to be here and then I'm gone.
Absolutely. And the fact that everybody's an asshole. Like, I mean, the probability of someone being an asshole is higher than I feel like it was when I was 10.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just being an adult.
There's probably some truth to that.
But I'm just kidding. None of you guys are assholes.
But you getting this together as well, like I think you should give some backstory on how like you kind of started your channel and what you were doing then, because you were also sort of isolated doing that too. You weren't around any of your friends. You probably had this like creative outlet that you wanted to express.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was it may have been COVID. Now that I look back at it, I don't know. But so I guess we could probably go in a little bit like about us, you know, like behind okay. To start off with me, I grew up like playing guitar, right? I started playing guitar early in high school. And then, you know, I was like immediately into like thrash metal. Like I remember my buddy Josh and I we were listening to like the One solo. We listened to One Metallica, like under the stairwell in Sand Creek High down the street. And we would listen to it literally like 50 times in a row. Like, I mean, it would just keep playing. And then we just pick up like different nuances on like the solo, or like, wow, that harmony is interesting, you know, because when you're young, Metallica is like game changer, dude.
And for us, there's already 10 albums released, dude, before you're even born. So.
And it's like, yeah, dude, that's a good point. So you get overwhelmed, like because you know you start off with Kill 'Em. I remember hearing Kill 'Em All in Two Fisted Mario's Pizza downtown Denver, and being like, what the hell is this, dude? And then, you know, it opened up from there, and then Ride the Lightning, Creeping Death, and all that. But then, so yeah, got really into thrash metal. And I mean, I was in a big, huge Dragon Force phase for a minute.
I think everybody played like Guitar Hero and all that, right? Is that where it came from?
Well, it's like, you're like, is this even possible? And you kind of find out that there's some trickery in there.
Yeah, it's somewhat, yeah.
But, so fast forward, got a real job, got a haircut, got a real job. And then eventually kind of like the guitar playing trailed off. Definitely trailed off. It even trailed off when I was here. I first met you. I wasn't really playing.
Right. Yeah, I do remember this.
And then moved away to California, and then got a little isolated because where I was at was like there's nobody around. And then I was like, one day I'm like, you know what, dude? I haven't played in a while, and the best thing to get you playing guitar again is to buy a new guitar. And I stand by that as evidence of these. But it was my RG. It was my Genesis 550, the greatest metal machine ever created. And from there, I was like, dude, I was interested in like recording music. I'd always wanted to record music. I played in a few bands growing up, but I never really like, you know, stuck with it. But I wanted to start recording music. So I started doing that and then reaching out to others on social media. And they were like, I was seeing who was doing it. Like everybody was doing it, all skill levels.
Yeah.
So then I thought, why can't I do that? And so I started. It was horrible. I made some horrible quality stuff. Didn't even know what tone was. Didn't even know what plugins were. I think you showed me what plugins were.
Yeah,
you showed me that.
Probably the STL tones, maybe. Yeah,
you showed me the Will Putney.
Probably the second generation of stuff that I got into. I think for me it was like the Pod Farm. Oh, you know what I mean? It was like really cheap. You're like, well, I can play this like through my computer. I can play as loud and as quiet as I want to. It's actually tube sounding, or what's meant to be.
Yeah, is that line 6? Was that
line 6? Yeah.
Holy shit, line 6 is still kicking.
And I've met so many people that like play in bands that was like their first kind of introduction to using plugins. And there's so many like great bands out there that use that as like their basis for like just grabbing a laptop and plugging their. You know, it makes it so much easier than having to set up a tube amp and put everything together.
Tubes popping and then trying to get the mix of all that and like trying to find a good combination. Because I remember as a kid or younger being like, hey, how do I get the best tone? I remember asking people that. And they're like, there's never a good answer because everybody's tone is different, dude.
Yeah.
And they fall in love. Like sometimes you'll hear a tone and you're like, I don't really love it. And then you'll play and you're like, I ended up loving that.
Yeah. And I guess the real answer to that back then was money. You know, you have to have more money to have like this nice gear, and it really doesn't have to be that way now. Like now you can just download these plugins. If you got a couple $100, I mean, it's pretty quality sounding.
And it will never break down unless you have like a computer malfunction, right? Like,
yeah, I would say so. And you still have your interface. So, I mean, like, that's not really going to break. And yeah, I was thinking about that recently too, about how there's a lot of people that are very divided on that subject, like, versus real amps with real tubes versus this. And it's
funny that you bring that up because the question we got from the viewer is about that. Oh, great. Okay. So we'll definitely dive into that. But to round it out, started a YouTube channel. Many of you probably are watching this on that channel, and there's a couple things like I talk about how to spot deals on guitars, right? And also I talk a lot about Floyd Rose stuff, floating trim stuff.
Yeah, you like floating trims.
Yeah, because I'm a floating trim guy, and I remember like it was yesterday. I could not. I think it was that Dean right there. I had it as standard, tuned to standard, and I really wanted to play Children of Bodom, so I had to get it tuned into D. Right at the time, like D, Follow the Reaper, all that, and I was like couldn't figure it out. I didn't know how you detune it and mess with the springs. So I took it to a guy in Guitar Center, and he charged me like $60 to just retune it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna have to do this every time. Like I change the tuning, and then I was like, you know what, I'm figuring this, and what I found from that is like a lot of people struggle with that stuff and don't know how to maintain it, don't know what to do if it malfunctions, the quality of them. So that's really what I talk about on the channel. And just thank you all for that, because you've grown it to like almost 10,000 subscribers. So I really, really appreciate it. But yeah, let's talk enough about me. Let's talk about you.
Oh man, so the origin of music for me.
Origin of Matt.
Or playing guitar specifically. My sister got an acoustic guitar when I was probably like 6 years old for Christmas.
Okay.
Because she wanted one, and then I think she maybe played it a little bit, and then it kind of just sat in the corner. Just like, I mean, most people get an instrument, like they realize like it is annoying to learn. I mean, it is the most fun time in my opinion is when you first start, because you suck so bad. So I mean, it really takes off if you just dedicate the time to it. Sure. But so she had it there, and then I would pick it up, and I'm like, okay, like there's these bands like AC/DC, and I'm thinking like maybe one of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games is why I was like, oh, okay, that guitar sounds cool. There's a guitar in this room. Let me pick that up and see if I can make that sound.
Probably 3, right?
Yeah, or even maybe like 3. Yeah, probably because the first Tony Hawk's Pro Skater had like CKY and Bad Religion,
Sweet.
and I can't remember what some of the rest of them were, but I remember one of them started with like an AC/DC song, and
it was the intro.
Yeah, that was it.
Dude, it might have been 2.
Yeah, maybe the second one.
Maybe it was 3.
For some reason, I thought it was like one of the undergrounds, but I haven't played them in so long.
If you all could help us nail that down, we'd like it. Put it in the comments. It was 2 or 3, because I think 4 or 3 had Iron Maiden, I think, too. I can't remember.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if anybody out there could just reach out to AC/DC or Tony Hawk even, and maybe
just knock on the door. Just
I'm sure they'll be real receptive. Yeah. But I remember that was kind of like what was like, I don't know, the doorway to just getting me to like learn or want to learn.
Sure.
And then like my 12th or 13th birthday, my parents bought me a First Act guitar, which was like Walmart's like proprietary brand, I guess. And it was an electric guitar, and it came with like this little amp that was like,
so it was a package, huh?
Yeah. So you had everything, right? So I was like, cool. Like now I'm like making these weird sounds out of it, but at the same time, I was like really getting into, like I have older siblings who like kind of really helped me like learn about other music, and because they all liked variety of things like Incubus that my brother likes.
Yeah, dude, that is something about you. You like a ton of different music. Like you are showing me stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Do you credit that to like your growing up, because you have 4 siblings, right?
3 sisters and a brother.
Yeah, so that's
I would say so. Yeah, like just pop culture in general, like the way I consume it is probably as a result of how they did too. So I felt like I kind of had like my hand in like a few different things. So,
sure.
I mean, my sister would like Incubus and this band called Swirl 360. So if anybody ever wants to listen to them, that's like some pop band from back in the day. I still think they're good. They're definitely not around anymore. But then my brother liked Jay-Z and Funkmaster Flex, things like that.
Swirl 360?
Yeah. You really have to check this out.
Damn. All right.
But then, then I got into like Limp Bizkit and like maybe some like the new metal stuff. And I think
roll it. Don't get me NHL hits, dude.
Yeah.
That was the intro.
Yeah, that's
all right.
Yeah, that was Chocolate Starfish, which is like
and the hot dog flavored water, man. Come on now.
Like that's what I learned like what riffs were, was because of that dude Wes Borland.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's a riff heavy band.
Yeah, and all the weird stuff that like he was playing, I'm like, it's just, I don't know, it was always weird for me to think of like that being in someone's head, and then now it's out there. Like that never would have existed without him doing that and experimenting with stuff. And like whether you're a Limp Bizkit fan, whatever. But you can definitely respect that somebody like took the time to do that. That wasn't just something that came to him.
Sure.
And then like you just said, Children of Bodom, and that was like the first band I listened to that screamed. I think
it was definitely like that, or like, I mean, in terms of like how early they came on the scene, I think for me, like the earliest screamers I listened to was like Bodom.
Yeah,
maybe some like spillover 80s thrash metal bands that like started to scream, but Bodom, I mean, that was who I was like. I remember being like, I don't like screaming, guys.
Right.
I don't like it, but I love the guitars in Children of Bodom. If only they didn't scream.
Yeah, I remember not believing it was real.
Yeah,
I used to tell people at school, I'm like, no, he's just whispering. They're just like amplifying.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny because every time when I found out like they were screaming and I tried, it ended up being like,
yeah, like you're like, I don't know how they're doing
like,
this.
It sounds good, but not loud enough.
And on the same parallel with like Metallica, when I found Children of Bodom, they had already had 5 or 6 albums out. Like they were already such an established band in Europe and I guess here.
Dude, I think their first album came out in 99.
Insane, right?
And, yeah, like or something like that. Something or like at on 2000.
Yeah. Basically before the first time I ever picked up a guitar that existed.
Yeah,
and they were I remember the first song I heard was whatever the one is on the Baker 3.
Dude. Okay. Come on. Downfall.
That's what it was. Yeah, that was
dude.
It. I remember hearing that, and then that's when I first like learned what double bass was.
Yeah, because that's just like with the keyboards.
Yeah,
with the keyboards.
Like what am I even listening to?
Still just
till
this day,
still
man.
slaps.
Oh,
yeah. So I was a big fan of that one, and then like Bodom Beach Terror, all those others. I mean, I really got into that, and I was like, well, I'll never be able to play any of this. This guy is insane, and he not only can play so well and accurately, but he also can sing over it and scream over it, and
that's the hardest thing.
Even recording that stuff is so difficult, and they managed to perform it live. And I was just like, man, this is really cool. And I think that's when I realized that there's people out there that perform, and there's people out there that are actually performing. Right? You go to a performance, like say some, not to discredit like other genres of music. I mean, I really do like everything, but if you go to an EDM show or anything where it's a lot of it is pre-recorded, and yes, they're manipulating a lot of it there, but there's so much less that can go wrong. So the margin for error is much greater.
I never thought of it that way. Yeah, because you have all the separate instruments.
Yeah,
that are not pre-recorded.
Yeah.
So
whereas like there's a band called Volumes who I really dig, and I mean I've probably listened for 12, 13 years, and I've seen them 3 times, and I think every time I've seen them something has gone wrong.
Oh, really?
Right? And I'm just like, oh, maybe I'm just bad luck or something.
Are they? They're not the ones that are strictly instrumentals, are they?
No.
I think that might be intervals.
Yeah. So they are,
okay.
and they've actually done an album with vocals, and they're like, no, this isn't really our thing. I imagine that's kind of what the deal was.
Okay.
But yeah, but also another, to get me into like instrumental music, one of those bands, listen to this, and I'm like, wow, it's just a band that's that good. They don't need a singer,
dude. Yeah, I know. You're trying to like make up riffs and songs in your basement. And you're like, dude, I can't even touch people that don't have lyrics.
Right?
Like, damn. Yeah. These dudes are good.
They just have such a crazy fundamental understanding of it. But so then, Children of Bodom, and then in middle school, high school, it was like Bullet for My Valentine.
Ooh,
I'm pretty sure my journey is so like exactly like but I'm sure it's so much like many others, right? Like most people that listen to music also probably played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. But then, so I found them, and then I found like A Day to Remember, and then Parkway Drive was like the big one, and that was the first like metal show I ever went to, where I was like, this is the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life, and it was such a small little place, and
where'd you see them at?
I saw them at a venue called the Crocodile Rock in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
All right. Matt's from Pennsylvania, by the way.
Yeah.
So you know.
So any
good
East Coasters.
Dude works hard. He's been at the mill all morning.
Yeah, a fellow Quaker. But so I went to that, and my parents let me go to this when I was 17 and took some friends, and it was crazy. Went to this show, and you're watching kids.
Who drove?
I did.
You drove?
Yeah,
dude.
So watch these kids get their noses broke, and they love it. I'm like, man, this is crazy. I didn't know this happened here, and this band is from so far away.
Yeah. Australia.
And I think what was really crazy is the two people that went with me, we didn't realize how famous they really were. And I don't even think they did when they're on the stage. So any of like the callbacks, gang lyrics, all that stuff, they were very much looking at each other on stage, just like, how is this even possible? So it's kind of cool to see that band go from that to basically being like this arena rock band. And
yeah, now they're selling arenas. You look at the social media, it's like they're everywhere. And I mean, they were the perfect band to transition from like what we were listening to at the time. Like, I mean, let's be real, like As I Lay Dying, like, you know, Darkest Hour, stuff like that.
Yeah,
they were a good band to transition to like be like, they softly, like, for me, transitioned me into like hardcore.
Yeah,
because they have a touch of that, you know. And so it was like, and then it's all algorithm based, right?
Yeah.
Like I was listening to that, and it's like, oh, Pandora's like, well, maybe you'll like Terror.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, I do like Terror,
which I think is like one of their influences.
Yeah,
too. Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, it is cool, and they sort of, I don't know, that band, like, there's so much that I listen to because of them.
Yeah,
although the bands they would bring on tour and stuff, so I really feel like that was another just like pinnacle moment of my discovery into other types of music and just how much I really appreciated it. And I know a lot of people don't like heavy music, and that's fine. You like whatever you want, but like I don't ever try to gatekeep it, right? Like right now, Parkway is this almost rock band, and they're doing what they do, and
true,
obviously they're probably attracting a different sort of fan base, but I mean, they've been playing for over 20 years, and I mean, if you play the same 10 songs every night for that long, I think you probably drive yourself crazy. And
yeah,
you can't blame people for just wanting to experiment and go a different direction. That's just what they do. And
yeah, I think people's tastes mature, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it was like, I mean, I started with like classic rock, and I mean, I still love like 80s rock, as many of you know, and then I mean, I went full all into like brutal death metal, dude. Like, I was listening to nothing but Cannibal Corpse, Decapitated, and like, you know, the old classic stuff, like Suffocation. You know, that people are like, I can't listen to that. It's just like, you know, it's like monotone and stuff. And I'm like, but dude, it's good.
Yeah.
And, but then it's like I don't listen to it all the time.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if it's nostalgic when I do listen to it. So
yeah, and it's their creative outlet. So like, if I don't like something, I'm not like, oh, this band sucks, I hate them. It's more just, maybe it's not sonically pleasing for me to hear, but that's what they decided to do, and that's cool, you know? I mean, even some of those heavier, like, deathcore bands, I remember a really popular thing in, like, early 2000s was all these breakdown compilations on YouTube, and I would listen to them all the time. I was like, what's the most brutal one I can find today? Like, that's all I would do, is just sit there on this dial-up computer and just find...
dial-up.
Yeah. Yeah,
I remember parents being like, "Get the fuck off the phone."
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, I'm on CannibalCorpse.com.
Yeah,
okay,
and I'm also trying to download everything online.
Yeah, I'm also trying to super infect your computer.
Yeah,
okay, okay. So, what do you want to take a question?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this one, I was like, I haven't done research if I could like say the user's name, so I'm not going to. But maybe we can. I don't know. But this guy asks, let's see, in the presence of pedals, in the presence of plugins, are pedals dead?
Are pedals dead because of plugins?
Run with it. Go.
I would say that they're dead. I mean, you're definitely the pedal guy. You know much more about that than I do. But like, in terms of like what recording, I mean, no, I wouldn't say so. I mean, if you're a professional artist, mostly like they are using plugins, but they're surely using real amps too. And with real amps, you're going to use pedals. I would say a lot of just the other software stuff is what is maybe phasing a lot of those things out, because pedals just aren't as practical sometimes. Like one pedal could be $300 to $400, and that might be even just a cheap one. Like a real tape delay or something they're not cheap. And if you can find a plugin that has that exact sound, I mean, in a way, yes, maybe it is for something like that. But there are other pedals for live sound that you really just can't get away with not having. I mean, you'd be able to tune your guitar and Yeah. So I guess yes and no is the answer to that question. That's my personal opinion.
I think that's the only answer because it just depends on your setting, right?
Yeah.
Like for freaking basement recording artists, guilty. You're going to use plugins because why would you use anything else?
Right.
I mean, I get it if you have a rig and a setup of like your amps and you have the, you have the right amp and the right cab that you love and you're running it through your pedal board and stuff. I get that. But maybe the new generation are leaning on on plugins. But the thing is, are you going to be able to emulate that plugin like exact on like a live stage?
Sure.
And also, I think there's something powerful and something like feels good about stomping a pedal board live. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So I think maybe pedals are definitely not dead. I just think there's a new market for plugins, especially in the wake of COVID. Everybody was at home messing with plugins, trying. You got social media artists that have their own plugins now. So it's,
Yeah, real pedals, I mean, I don't know, it's just another thing that can break too, I think about that. And it's like another thing in your signal chain that, like when you think about gates and stuff, most people, when they're playing live, are going to put one on each end of their signal chain. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's hard for me to really speak on like the Kemper stuff and
you have one, right?
Modeling. Yeah, so I have one, but I've never played live with it. I've just recorded with it, and whoever I bought it from had a million different presets in it. So I kind of wish I hadn't had it that way, and I could have experimented more with it. But yeah, I don't know. It's sad to say that maybe pedals are dead because they are super cool, and I think when you just get a new one, you're like, man, what can I do with this? But just the plugins are just infinitely. There's so much more you can do.
Sure.
So
my final thing on that is like I've worked with a couple independent pedal makers. One of which sent me the Goblin right here. Which is it says tone distorter on it, but it's really just a fuzz pedal. I shouldn't say just because I was messing with it the other day and it's pretty awesome. But the thing is this guy makes these made in North Carolina and it's like a passion project. I'm pretty sure he like quit his job to make these. And, it's probably one of the most quality made in terms of like hardware and stuff that I've used. But also this is something plugins can't emulate. Like this was made from the heart.
Yeah.
It was wired to his, specifications. This cannot be remade.
Yeah.
So there's something about that too. It's like old guitars. Like an old 63 Les Paul cannot be remade.
Sure, yeah.
You can replica. But
yeah, that's a very good point.
So I mean, you're like the SLT tonality that I use is going to be the same one you use.
Yeah,
but like these will have a little bit of flavor to them.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So that's really
I
think we agree. I think we agree. No debate club here. Really.
I think we definitely agree that like when you get one of these things, you're like, man, this is so cool, and like you just said, like the guy put all that work into it. Most people don't think of craftsmanship that goes into things like that. They're like, it showed up at Guitar Center, it comes to me. You don't think the hard work that actually went into it.
I'm with you on that. And that's something that I think makes the guitar world unique. And I think with plugins, we're getting away from that a little bit. Don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So I think now it's time. We're going to do our segment, guys, where we highlight just some up-and-coming guitarists that don't have like a ton of followers. And we're going to do this every episode. We're just going to talk about how fucking great they are or make fun of their haircut, one of the two.
Do you know any of these?
Let's see. I know one of them, and the first one I'm going to bring up is, let's see, guys. Just so you know, we obviously don't have a producer or production manager. We're doing it all ourselves. If you want a job for free, let me know. Because I can't hire you. All right, Riffmeisters. Here we go. We have a category. So, let's see. These guys actually kind of have some followings. But
I can't wait to see this.
So this guy right here, he's actually one of the dudes that kind of got me into recording. Like I would kind of consult him. I'd be like, hey man, what do you do? Like you record something and then how do you do the video? How do you get multiple angles? How do you even do this? And it's this guy from the Philippines. His name's Makosis. And he, let's check him out. headless. You know what I'm saying?
Is it a Strandberg? I can't see it.
I don't.
Usually it says it above the.
I'm pretty sure this is a custom guitar that he got made by someone in the Philippines.
It's very cool.
I know, right?
Extended range. Yeah. Big
Yeah,
fan.
he's got the multi-scale.
So the bridge he has on this, do you know what these are called? Because that also looks like a Strandberg bridge.
I don't know. I know a lot of these bridges are pretty similar on all the headless guitars. I need to look into them because I'm just kind of like a Floyd Rose guy. But a lot of these are floating trims.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I'm not a fan of headless guitars, obviously, but this looks good. I like the.
I think it's because
the
it
two
looks
humbuckers,
bigger.
too.
Because it is a longer guitar.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem as much like something's missing. Yeah, I really like this kid.
Yeah, he's just a prog guy. He's put out a couple albums, and he also gets some guest spots on for his leads. Like he
that's
brings
cool.
people
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think he's put out 2 albums now. I think. But yeah, he's a cool dude. He showed his whole journey on getting his guitar.
Yeah.
It was custom made. He checked out a couple of brands and he went with this one. He's pretty he's got kind of a following on social media.
Yeah.
Definitely respectable. But he puts out some good prog music. Obviously, if you can't tell, he's influenced by Periphery.
Yeah, and a lot of his riffs sound very Periphery.
Very slidey, very harmonic.
Yeah.
That's getting into your jam, into your thing, right?
Man. I love that band.
Now this guy's got a ton of love, but his he's the gent guy.
Yeah. Right.
He is the guy.
All right, here we go.
All right, look at that guitar. Yep. Dude,
I have seen it.
look at that. Ooh, let's watch it again. Is this gent or is it metalcore? It's funny because nowadays we're seeing just a bunch of low E string just nastiness, dude.
Yeah. It's all, I think it's kind of all.
Because it used to be,
now.
dude, when we were growing up, it used to be just the, how heavy and just slow can you get that breakdown?
Yeah, you didn't even need any of the high strings.
No. Nothing.
You just needed
an E,
top 2.
dude,
yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah.
Dude. Especially if you're playing Lamb of God, you need the 2 top strings. That's it.
Yeah, I do find that to be, I love Meshuggah, obviously, but a lot of the bands that come out now, I just see someone who gets a 7-string guitar or an 8-string guitar, and they're just
There's a lot of strings on there.
wailing away in the low strings. I'm I don't know.
Okay, so now let's check out some shredders. I got a few in here.
Lay it on me.
Okay, got a few in here. This first guy gets some special love for me, dude, because him and I actually competed in a shred contest online.
Oh, yeah. Is that how you got one of these?
Yep, he beat me out, rightfully so. Yeah, I won that.
The Harley
Benton right there. Max Carlisle, shout out, thanks, dude. Been using it in all my videos, love it. But this guy, Dakota Amacher, I think it is, huge Firewind guy. So he's you're gonna get
I can't believe you want a guitar.
definitely.
That's so funny.
Definitely, he's definitely Ice Earth Firewind, that style of stuff.
Okay, cool.
But the thing is, this guy has put out 3 albums, shreds smoothly, and one of the most accurate players that I've probably ever seen.
Yeah.
So let's check him out. Here we go. Gus G. Jackson, right?
And I like that it's a live recording.
Oh, yeah. Dude, just watch the violence of action. Dude.
Hot dang.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
That's rad.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's got
See-
like a saw in the background. You can
Dude.
just hand that to me and I'll just cut mine in half.
He's got something hanging from his
I don't even
pants
need
too.
my guitars
I
anymore.
think it's like a level or like a X-Acto knife.
Yeah.
But dude,
He's a working man.
Dude, what I like about this guy is it's not just shredding the whole time.
Yeah.
And he's like when his vibrato is on point, and then also when he hits one of those notes, dude, he just scratches all the strings and
Yeah.
really makes it just scream, dude. Like, listen. See?
Yeah.
That sounds so good. It doesn't sound good like as because you're hearing the sound of the actual guitar.
Yeah.
But when you have that on a recording, it makes it sound so much flavor,
Yeah, especially when it's playing over something too.
dude.
Because it's making that note resonate as
Yep.
well.
All right, Dakota, great job. Now this last guy. This is another guy that is, and this will be our last feature. This guy's name's John Yaden, I think it is. And this is part of his submission to the Jared Dines shred competition. There's another reason why I like this guy, because I can show you shredders all day, right? Economy picking up and down the scale,
Yeah.
like arpeggios, all this stuff. This guy just makes ridiculously good sounds, okay? If that makes any sense. That was a short clip, but
Damn.
it's fast, man, and he's huge whammy bar guy, which is speaks to me.
Can you play one more time?
Yeah. Looks at the camera, smug son.
Yeah. As he should. His playing really reminds me of this guy named Angel Vivaldi. You know who he is?
Yeah, he's got that beautiful 7-string from Charvel.
Charvel, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. It has like the reverse headstock, I think.
Reverse
on it. And it
headstock?
has like the inlays that kind of go
The
like
inlays that are like up and down.
yeah.
Dude, I love that guitar. Dang.
And I really like his too. This guy
Yeah,
here.
that's an RG. I don't know what, but it's a type of RG. He plays Solar too. He plays a lot of Solar guitars. I think he's endorsed by them.
What's his name again?
John Yaden.
All right.
I think that's how you pronounce it, John. But no, he's a great guy. We talk on social media once in a while, and he's actually Have you heard of the band The Browning?
Yeah.
He's in it.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Like I'm
Interesting.
almost positive he was or is in The Browning.
That's like a totally different style of music.
Well, dude, he plays everything,
That's
dude.
cool.
Everything. But yeah, so I mean, there's so many guitarists out there that are just like that are featured and that get in the algorithm and like you see them every day.
Yeah.
But there's a lot like that. I think that's the beauty of social media for guitarists, right?
Yeah.
This is how I always explain it. Back in let's use the 80s, right? What guitarists got recognition and fame? You don't necessarily need to like name them, but like what type of guitarists would you say in the 70s and 80s got recognized?
Like how did they get exposure? Or?
Yeah, there you go. Let's go that route. How did they actually get exposure?
I mean, they'd have to tour. I mean, the only way you're going to do that is
And who pays for the tour?
they do.
And
Their promoters or whoever.
promoters and
Yeah.
record companies, right?
Yeah, they're
So that's who is
tour
choosing,
managers. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And that's what was put in front of our faces. Which, thank God, we got Van Halen.
yeah. That's pretty much the only way to see it.
Like,
too.
I mean, it was the only way to see it, right?
Yeah, you could hear it, and then I guess that kind of added a little bit of like mystique to it as well, because you'd hear him like, "Man, I'd really love to see someone do that," and then like now we can just YouTube and like, "Cool, now
Yeah,
I know
like,
somebody
right?
just did that." But
Yeah.
back then, yeah, I bet that was just like monumental.
Dude, it had to be insane. But that's all we got to see.
Yeah,
Like, we didn't hear about Homeboy that can actually like shred and like has put out several albums and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
like social media actually exposes some of these good guitarists that should probably get some traction. You
Yeah.
know?
And it sort of changes the way they can do that in a sense of not just, oh, hey, here's how good I am, but like even some of the stuff you do will be like, here's how to do this tapping technique or whatever.
Sure.
So there's so many people out there that are just wanting to learn how to play guitar. So they don't really care how good you are. They just want to learn something. And quick little short things make that possible. And I think that's such a great thing about social media in that regard is, you know, if you want to learn anything, it's so you can learn it so quickly if you just devote the time to it. You don't even have to watch an hour-long segment. But if you want to learn the intricacies of guitar work, if you want to learn like the cage system and learn, you know, different arpeggios, I think it's so insanely easy to have that because it's right in front of our faces. Like anything you want to search specifically on guitar, you can find it. Whereas before, I mean, for us, it was just tabs, and I had to read a tab and try to
figure out how the hell they got from fret 15 on the G string. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah, and if you're not playing it to a metronome, none of it makes any sense.
Dude, I remember printing out tabs on a printer that sucked. And then having it on whatever, like on my knee as I'm like trying to learn, spilling fucking beer on it, being like, you know, oh, I'm going to get this someday. And then video comes around and it's like, oh, this is how you do it. I'll walk you through for free.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's the same thing with the Floyd Rose, dude. I had no idea what I was doing. If there was a YouTube video out there that could help me, you know,
walk you through it. Yeah, back then there just wasn't. So if you had a Floyd Rose on your guitar, like I had a friend back in the day who had a Ibanez Xiphos, and it had whatever the Ibanez proprietary, the Edge trim.
Huh? Like Edge is good.
And it kind of just stopped working, and we were like, okay, I guess we just
You're
don't
like,
play that guitar anymore.
Put that one aside.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like looking up some weird forums about just sticking a 9-volt battery in there, and then I did that, and it still sucked. And I was like, hey, so. Bad. I mean, good news is I got the battery in there, but your guitar still is.
Wait, so was the battery wasn't powering anything?
No,
it was just blocking the bitch.
No, and I'm pretty sure that's like an old trick that a lot of guitarists use.
All right,
I think that's why I saw it so many times. I was like, cool. I'll
just put a 9-volt back there
on
like a sketchy forum. Like
exactly. Yeah,
Ibanez lovers forum.
Yeah.
Oh, those forums were the worst. Dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm certain that's where I found it.
Dude, you get like 10,000 people that you ask questions, be like, hey, I got this trim problem. And I got this chin problem that you need to see, but I'm going to put it on a forum so all you people can just vomit all over it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how Reddit is now, too. You put something like, hey, I'm not sure how to tune my guitar to this. And everybody just like, how can I humiliate this
Dude,
guy?
seriously.
Socially. It's awful.
Dude, how do I tune this? They'll be like, you'll just get someone that says, fucking asshole.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. Thank
Sell
you.
it if you're too stupid. Yeah, you're like, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. That really checks out. That helps me.
Very constructive. I appreciate the pep talk.
God. So yeah, I guess the moral of the story is technology. Hey, you people that are learning how to shred now, thank your lucky stars because you didn't have to do tabs. Okay, covered in beer. All right.
And even the tabs now are coming up alongside with whoever's playing it, so you can see it.
Oh yeah, they put them on their videos.
Yeah, I learned something the other day where I was using that, and I was like, "This took me a quarter of the time it would have taken me, 10 years ago."
Because you're like trying to listen to it, and then you couldn't slow anything down back then too.
Yeah,
so you're like, I just gotta fucking move my fingers faster, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you just can't be frustrated with like the speed that technology moves. At least it's here, and we're not.
Yeah, it's here.
Complaining about it.
We're not too old. We can at least enjoy that.
Yeah,
we're getting there, but we're
definitely
not too old.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, I think we're done.
Cool.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
All right, first episode in the books, dude.
Absolutely.
Talk about a whole bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. Got down the grassroots of why we like any of this.
So, just final things, guys. Make sure you check out our socials. Instagram is Phase Splitter Pod. I guess there's another Phase Splitter podcast. So
great.
We got to get more famous than them.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have them on here.
Yeah, we'll have them as guests and be like, hey, can we have your name? So Phase Splitter Pod. And also don't forget to check out our Patreon, which our Patreon, let me pull it up here. Give me a second. Our Patreon is, geez, you think I'd figure out how to use my own technology by now. But also we have the Facebook page. Phase Splitter Facebook page. And then also check out the Patreon, which is patreon.com/phase splitter podcast. And what you get with that is what we said in the beginning. You're going to get free ad-free content, shout outs, fan stuff, and also you're going to get free access, pre-access to any Phase Splitter merch. So you guys get it first. And if it sells out, well, the other people don't get it. So, that's how we do business. So, there's that. And then I think that's it. Make sure what's your Instagram?
Mine's at Matthew Monty.
At Matthew Monty.
Yeah.
Can't miss that. And then I'm at Nick Axe Guitar. At Nick Axe Guitar. Whoa. Okay. That's about it.
Perfect.
All right.
Sick. Cheers.